I just want to get a small or medium or large little round of applause. Sherri, Darlene, Justice for Black Lives Matter. We have another guest, Shinae Anderson, Styles by Shinae. She's going to be showing us how she gets down, how she's mobile. We're going to have some really good questions from Sherri today. Can Shinae join me on stage?
Shinae here? A round of applause.
All right.
We're not going to touch, it's COVID, right?
I understand. Yeah.
No hugs, no
goodness.
kisses, no XOs.
Yes. You're amazing. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate the time you put aside to
Absolutely.
come check out the Culture Shock family.
You're my brother. I mean, you asked, and I'm here.
Exactly.
I'm here.
Shinae, tell me, man. What was it like at the beginning of this madness? And
Like COVID?
yeah.
So, I mean, my business, I'm in the wedding industry, so I do hair and makeup for weddings. I cater to my brides, and this is hands-on. I'm like up close and personal, so I mean, it hit us, the wedding industry, hard.
Absolutely.
Like, it's super hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't imagine.
it's hard.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's still hard. I have lots of like reschedules for 2020,
Okay.
2021. So like they're taking up those spaces too, right?
Okay.
So it's like you're catering to your 2020 season, but we're trying to move on to the 2021 season. It's a tough world
I
for
know.
like the wedding industry as a whole, not just
And
hairstylists.
even though
and
you're
makeup
headed to the 2021 right now, what was the preparation like for 2020? Right? Did you lose any clientele? Did it slow stuff down?
I mean, it was non-existent for a really long time.
Okay.
There was no weddings because you have to think about like there's brides that have I have brides that have 400 guests, right? So when you're getting cut back to 50 outside, what are you gonna do? You know, there's some brides that are like, you know what, like we're gonna go through with it. Let's just it's all about getting married. But then you have brides that are like, no, I need my guests there, so we need to reschedule, right? It's a tough time. It was
Very
a tough
much is.
like for a small business owner. It was a hard time. It still is.
Okay.
We're still in like the limbo of, are we going to keep going or are we going back into lockdown? What's happening? We're in that limbo, right?
Exactly. And what I want to add to that is, while you have all this clientele and people that are like, Shinae, I need you to do this, Shinae, I need you to do that. During that time when it was like, okay, nobody goes nowhere.
What happened?
Who was coming to you and
There was
who were
nothing.
you going to?
There was nothing. And for me at that time, I was like, okay, I've built this business up over years. Now we can't do anything. So what do I do? That's where I really had to like kind of like stand in the mirror and say like, as a business owner, like, what do I do?
Right.
So it went to me looking at different streams of income other than the wedding industry. Like that's where my talent is, but
Nice.
where do I make money? Because there's no money to be made right now.
So are you mobile? Do you go?
Oh, I'm mobile, like fully mobile. I go. We cater to our brides. They get their Airbnbs, their hotel rooms. We go there. We service them. They get to relax. We take all the pressure off, no stress. We come and glam you up, and you get to essentially just chill out, have your mimosas with your girls, and enjoy your day, right? That's what it's about.
I'm impressed by that. And I don't have hair. I don't have hair that needs to be dressed like that, but someone's coming to you to make you look good.
Hey, that's what it's all about. It's your day.
Yep.
You're supposed to feel like you're at ease, right? And
Yes.
that's where my team comes into play. We glam you up, no questions asked, and you just feel good on your day.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So now that we're in either stage 2, 3, 4, forgive me for not paying attention, viewers, but I'm really just focusing on who's really trying to grow and who's really like worried. Because you can be worried and you can be worried about what you're going to lose, or you cannot be worried and you still have to move forward.
I think it's all about moving forward, right? So it's like, still, the wedding industry is kind of like slowly like getting back into it, but it's not there yet. So it's like you really, as a business owner, need to like evaluate where can you make income from, right? So for me, it was about hopping on just like a online business platform and really trying to grow from that.
Okay.
Well, my business is on a standstill, right? Because I have a passion for it. So it's like, I'm not just going to throw that out the window.
Start over.
I built this up for a really long time.
Exactly.
So
Kept that.
that wasn't an option. And when we get back into it, that's great. That's dandy. But
Okay.
I still needed to make money for my family, right?
Now you have a location.
I do.
Where are you located?
206 Pelham Road, St. Catharines, right off of Glendale. So it's like Glendale, Pelham right there.
Yeah.
They'll find me right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And that's for anyone out there.
That's anybody looking for hair, makeup. Are you learning to learn hair? Are you learning or wanting to learn makeup? I will teach you. I do workshops, teeth whitening. I kind of do it all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Way to go. Way to
No,
go. I
you
was
can't-
just coming into this thinking,
Right. I'm not just a
studio.
hairstylist. I'm not just a makeup artist. I'm a mentor. I'm an educator. I want to give back to other people. Like that's how you learn. I mean, I had mentors, right? I had educators, and those are the people I looked up to. So it's like it's all about sharing and giving back at the same time. It's not about just taking yourself to the top. It's about bringing everybody else that's below you with you, right?
I know we're doing that 6-inch thing apart, but that's powerful.
Yes.
I like it.
Absolutely.
That's great. That's how we bring the team together.
But at the same time, it's like Niagara's kind of like missing that right now. I feel
Yes.
like that connection between like community and small businesses. So for me, that's where it's like I've really been trying to like mend that together. You know, we don't need to go to Toronto to learn basic makeup or hair or anything. There's a lot of
right
talented
here.
people right here. Even this is amazing.
Appreciate it.
It's about building up what's already here, right? And that's where I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect.
You heard it yourself. You heard it yourself.
It's a
That's
little bit.
pretty
It
much-
takes time though. It's not
It does.
easy. I'm not
It's
saying
not.
it's easy, but
Definitely not.
it's here.
It is here.
It's here.
All the talent and love and support.
Small
it's
businesses,
already-
like we should be supporting the small businesses here. We don't need to go out to Toronto, Mississauga, like Oakville. Like we have a lot of individual talent here.
Yes.
So
Very true.
that's
Yes.
what I'm trying to show. I do workshops. I will clap for that.
Yeah.
I do workshops, so I try to show some light on a lot of local talent. So I get different makeup artists, different hairstylists to come into my studio
Okay.
and teach a class where I kind of like bounce around in the kind of like the outside of the class.
Yes.
I let them shine, and then we get local businesses to kind of like sponsor our classes where they give a product that they have into our goodie bags or our swag bags. So our students get to trial these products, and
Nice.
then they can go buy them after or talk about them after or share about these businesses after, right?
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
it's like I'm trying to do my part
Of
within
course.
this community too,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's like where it all starts. We all have a little something
to do.
that we can give back,
Yeah.
right?
Jumpstart that right here.
Something, anything.
Jumpstart
Like
that right
if
here.
if I'm at the top, I don't want to be at the top by myself. I
Yeah.
want to bring the next person or the person after that. Like we can always help each other up, and I feel like that's where we're kind of lacking right now.
I love that mindset.
You know, bring us all together.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely.
So on to like, you got the studio, you have the location, you are mobile. We're slowly starting to break out of our shells in this Niagara region.
Absolutely.
So there's obviously work reaching you, coming to you, you're going to it. Where's most of your clientele other than obviously being here?
I mean, Niagara.
Yeah, okay.
Niagara.
Yeah.
Like we can't like
Mhm.
take away from like what's here. Like we are one of the wonders of the world, right?
Facts.
Like this is the Niagara like wedding industry is Niagara on the lake. Like we're right here. So 80% of my work is in the Niagara region.
Perfect.
I do travel. I do go to Hamilton. I do go to Toronto, but I would say 80% of my work is right here. It is brides coming from Toronto to Niagara, but
Nice, nice.
my work is Niagara based.
That's awesome.
Absolutely, which is nice. But
That's awesome.
it's about like having that determination to make a name for yourself in this area. It
Yeah.
wasn't overnight.
No.
It wasn't over a year. It wasn't
No.
over 2 years. It took a lot of time and a lot of like fight to get to where I am, to get my name out there, right? So
Did you go to school specifically for this work?
I did. I did. There was a little stumble before that. I was gonna go for nursing, and I was just listening to people's opinions about making money, and you're gonna make a lot of money being a nurse. And I always had a passion for hair and makeup. I knew that before I went for nursing. But I did my year, I finished, and I was like, you know what? It's great that you're gonna make a lot of money doing that.
Nice.
But to me, like, we've all been trained to be hamsters on a little wheel. Like, do a job, you might not be happy, but just do it anyways because you're gonna make money doing that. For me, I'm backwards. I don't care if I'm gonna make a lot of money doing something, but if I have a passion for it, that's what I wanna do. So that's what I did. I finished my year, I got my credits, and I proceeded with doing something that I knew I was going to love to do, and 10 years later, here I am.
Beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That is so powerful, man.
It is. And the
powerful.
thing is, like, I want to mention, like, it doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter if you're 35, 40, 50. If you are in a job that you hate, and literally every day you're waking up saying, like, I hate my job, I'm just gonna go do it for money, it's not worth it. Like, life can be taken away from you in an instance, right? So, like, nothing is guaranteed, nothing is, like, written in stone. Like, today you could be here, tomorrow you could be gone, so do something you love. It's got to pay the bills in some way,
Yeah,
because
there is
you
a
gotta
shuffle.
live.
I understand.
And it's got to be, like, you can do your passion on the side and work that up, but you have to have something that pays the bills at the same time. It's hard, but if you are determined, you can make anything happen. Anything is possible. If you can think it, you can do it.
Whoa.
Absolutely.
The very reason why she's here today.
Absolutely. Like,
Healthy thinking, powerful thinking.
The power of thinking big. If you haven't
Yep.
listened to it, if you haven't read it, read it. Like, listen to it. It is the power of thinking big. It's all about how you think, and literally anything is possible. If you can write it down on a piece of paper and manifest that, it's possible. 150%.
Manifestation was part of our...
Manifestation, it's possible.
There you go.
100%, it's possible. Anything is possible. If you're willing to put the work in, you're willing to, like, stay determined no matter... Like, I'm not saying it's going to be, like, a straight road. No.
Right. Fully understand.
It's going to be ups, downs, sideways,
But the determination has to be 100.
You have to be committed.
Yes.
You have to every single day. Like, you could wake up, you're having a bad day, but it's all about your mindset.
Boom.
Absolutely.
Styles by Shinae.
Style by Shinae over here.
Located in
And,
St. Catharines.
and it's not like this isn't how I woke up. This
I
is
know.
10 years in the making of ups, downs, sideways,
awesome.
upside down. But we got here.
Located in St. Catharines.
St.
She's
Catharines,
mobile. She'll go to
yes.
Hamilton. She'll go to
Eat,
Toronto.
live, anything.
You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
here.
Reach out to
I
her.
have a team. We service like multiple people at a time. It's not just me. I have a whole team of girls. So
Nice.
absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Man, tell them who you are.
I'm Shinae Anderson. I own Style by Shinae. I have a team of girls. We service brides. We do hair and makeup. I offer workshops where you can learn the craft of really bettering yourself. You could be beginner, you could be advanced, whatever your trade is in the middle, I can help you learn it. It's very simple. It's just about practicing. You gotta practice, right? Practice makes perfect. So here I am.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for coming out tonight.
Well, thank you for asking me. This is out of my comfort zone, but at the same time, this is how you get better. Like, that's why I'm here. I've known you since I was probably like 10 years old,
Yep.
maybe even before that. You asked me to be here, I came,
Yep.
but this is out of my comfort zone, 150%.
Like, but you look so comfort.
On
Look
the outside.
You
On
look
the
so
inside, I'm
comfortable.
like, okay, it's the only voice speaking. So when I'm not a public speaker at all.
I'm right
so
here with you. I'm right
I
here
know
with
what
you.
I want to say, and I'll say it, but at the same time, this is not comfortable for me at all.
I want to thank you for coming.
Hey, thank you for asking me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Man, what a great time. What a great time. Now, that was just part of number one. We got another number one showing up here in the building. You know who she is. It's the very, very lady I'm talking about. Sherri, in the building, ready to talk to us. Please join us on stage.
You're good,
Sherri, thank you very much for showing up.
Yep.
I want to appreciate all of that. Let me get this mic to Yes. Okay. I want to thank you first of all for coming out. There's a connection that led me to finding you, and I'm really glad that he's in the building. And you know, small world, good people. Here you are, Sherri, Darlene, everyone.
Thank you for having me.
Sherri, I gotta ask, where did this driving force come from? What started this? What started
Music.
music?
Music.
Music.
I am a beast at music. I just love it. I feel it. I'm a lyric person, you know. My brother sent me a song 3 weeks before the Ahmaud Arbery.
Okay.
Ahmaud Arbery really just set me over the edge, like with my rage and my anger. I had to stay home for 4 days.
Wow.
I was just so upset, and I just kept this song. I just kept putting it on repeat. My son said, "Why do you keep listening to that song?"
Mm-hmm.
And the words were just, you know, the lyrics was, "I need somebody to come and free my people, to come and feed my people, to make them eat. They're starving." And we don't have any leaders here in Niagara Falls. There never has been, not for race-related issues. And then George Floyd happened,
Yes.
and I had no words. And I'm a wordy person.
That's fine. Be wordy. It's okay.
I was gonna say bitch, but
Done did.
you know, I got lots of words, and I didn't have any. And I was just really sitting on the edge of my bed. I have not watched the George Floyd video. I will not watch it because we all know how it ends. Because we've seen it a million times, right? Maybe not to that extent, but we know how that ends. And this voice just said to me, "You gotta do something." So I just grabbed my laptop and I Googled how to arrange a demonstration, and there were 9 steps. And I said, I can do that. I gave myself a $100 budget for flyers. And the next day I went over to my friend's house. He's a musician, and I'm like, teach me how to make a flyer, because I knew he makes flyers for his concert and stuff. So 4 hours I spent making this flyer, and it was pretty basic. But it was something I never did before, and I just started posting them up.
Wow.
And honestly, I thought it was going to be me and, 50 of my friends and family that I forced to stand out there on Victoria Avenue. I had no
What
idea.
a big turnout that was.
It was.
Right?
It was.
For that. Amazing.
That relieved a lot for the viewer, myself, and I want to thank you for putting that there, letting it happen,
Mm-hmm.
created for it to happen, because it took a lot of pressure off me as well.
I think
Feel
it
good.
gave people an outlet. I
Yes.
think it was time, and enough is enough, and especially with the COVID, people being locked up in the house, and it was, everyone's, you're going out there, there's a pandemic. This is a pandemic, as far as I'm concerned. If you got skin the color of mine, you got children, your son looks like my son, this is a pandemic too. So we're going out there, you can come, you don't have to come. There was a lot of negativity leading up to it, hate mail, death threats, all that good stuff, but I'm like, we're just gonna do it, we're gonna do it.
My next question, what is the difference? Because I don't know the difference. And as much as I research it, I'm researching something that's telling me I should know the difference. Justice for Black Lives. Black Lives Matter.
The difference is I support Black Lives Matter. I support the message. I support what they're doing. I just, I feel like we're working in 2 different areas as far as moving the needle. We're both doing the same thing to move the needle for change.
Right.
I just feel like I'm focused more on my community because I live here. I'm pretty sure my son's gonna marry and my grandkids are gonna be here.
Right.
So, I don't know if anybody's ever done the research, but up to about 4 years ago, I looked it up, and Niagara Falls is 20 years behind in race relations alone. So when I say that, I mean, on a regular, people yell nigger out the window at me, where I live, where my son lives. I can't walk my dog down the street. I mean, I can for the most part, but there has been incidents where I'm walking down the street, Victoria Avenue, beautiful sunny day, and this man pulls out of Tim Hortons and screams out the car, "You fucking nigger." I don't know this man, I've never seen him before, but that's regular in Niagara Falls. So there's, I think Black Lives Matter, they are a huge organization. And the reason everybody wants to know why does Justice for Black Lives keep reiterating that we're not affiliated with them. Well, the thing is that everything that Justice for Black Lives does, it's through donations and out of my pocket. Black Lives Matter is a humongous organization with donations in the millions. So we need our little bit of money. You know what I mean? We need to, in order to keep these things going and keep doing things for the community, we need those donations because that's what they operate on.
Right.
That demonstration on June 6th, I paid for that out of my own pocket.
Okay.
And I didn't mind doing it, but it was way more than $100. You know
Facts.
what I mean? So that's really, there's no animosity, there's no hate there. We just, I think we're working in two different areas, but we're working for the same cause to move that needle for change.
How does the funding work for you?
Donations.
Okay.
It's donations, and a lot of times it's out of my own pocket. I mean, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of politics to,
That was the
Yeah.
question. What is the difference versus
Yeah.
what you do to versus what Black Lives does?
well, first of all, Black Lives, like I said, is massive. Black Lives Matter, they're massive. So they're like franchise, they're all over the world.
Okay.
You know, Justice for Black Lives, we're just the grassroots. We're just beginning, we're in our infant stages. Hopefully one day we get to the status of Black Lives Matter and we can work together. I'm not opposed to working with other organizations, but there's a lot of politics when you start doing nonprofit organizations. And one of the major things is, on top of funding any events that we do, we have to save for a lawyer. We need a lawyer to incorporate us. And yeah, there was a lot of politics. Like when I started putting out the flyers for the demonstration, along with the hate mail, I was getting a lot of mail from really big organizations, really like named, really known, and they wanted to kind of come in and, you know, we'll come in, we'll provide security, we'll provide water, we'll set up this, we'll set up that. And again, I'm an ordinary person, so I don't know. I'm just saying, do I really want these people? And then it was funny, a young lady reached out to me. Thank God for her, she was my angel. And she said, you know, I know this seems weird, but I'm just wondering if you could call me. I feel like I should tell you some things. And she was a professor of sociology. And she said, I gathered from your flyer that this is the first time you've ever done something like this. And I said, yeah, what gave it away? She said, well, you put your phone number on the flyer.
They gonna know where you are now.
Yeah. She's like, I thought, oh, I gotta ask. She's like, you know, it's admirable what you're doing. She's like, if you notice you've been getting a lot of emails from large organizations, nonprofit organizations. I said, yeah. She said, well, it's not a bad thing. She says, what happens is your flyer has picked up a lot of steam. So whoever you align yourself with, if you decide to do that, they'll come in and they'll totally, absolutely provide the water and the security and put up the barriers and everything. But then they get to apply for funding on the pretense that they put that, you know, they put that demonstration on.
Got it.
And if it's a really big success, then it's the more funding for them. So
Got it.
I opted not to go
Facts.
with any larger organizations, and I'm really just working on building Justice for Black Lives up. We've done a lot in a little bit of time. Yeah.
Telling you, that was amazing. Me personally, and Block ended up going down to the St. Catharines one, which was ran
Yes.
by totally two different people, but the one I seen in Niagara Falls was
It was massive, right?
massive.
I
Started at the casino, walked all the way down
It went that
Victoria.
far down to the casino?
Yeah. I
Oh,
mean, that's
wow.
where I started, right?
Oh.
And people met us there and was like, "Hey, you guys gonna do the rally?" And I looked around like, "Yes, I am." It was kind of just, I'm rallying for this,
Yeah.
and I'm rallying for what I need to just rally for, but
Yeah.
it
Did
took
it
a
not restore
lot.
your faith in
It
humanity?
restored a lot. It restored a lot.
It was similar in St. Catherine's. Like when it first started, it was just like, okay. I looked around. There's maybe like a half dozen people walking in the direction. I'm like, okay.
Right.
By the time I got to the Harry Tubman Church, there's like maybe 50, 100 people. Started turned another corner, and you saw the whole mass. And then we walked from the Harry Tubman Church to the City Hall, and I was so in the moment that I was locked in my phone, recording the whole thing for an hour and a half. And by the time the demonstration was done, I was seized up because I was just captivated by the whole thing.
That was the St. Catherine's one,
That
right?
was St. Catherine's, yeah.
Yeah, we were there. We went to that one too.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is a small world because while you were running the one for Niagara Falls, and I collectively went with one or two people that are in this room. Hadn't known you yet. Johnny was right beside you. Clayton was right beside Johnny. I'm down under the bridge filming somebody in red bottoms, wearing red shoes. I see you up there doing what you're doing, and I had no idea who you were. Hadn't met him yet.
Really?
And there we were, all beside each other.
Wow.
We're
Funny
in
how
a
the
room.
universe
We're in a
works.
room again beside each other.
Yeah, funny how the universe works,
Powerful,
right?
powerful,
Yeah.
powerful. What goes from here with Black Lives?
Oh, like I said, we are. I thought that after June 6th, I would kind of go home and go back to binge watching RuPaul and, stepping up a snack game, but that is not what happened.
Nope.
That is not what happened.
You done started something.
Yeah.
You done
Yeah.
started something.
So I decided, as a thank you to all my friends that helped me out that day, that even though I was exhausted, could barely walk after all of it, but we met at my girlfriend's house and I ordered pizza and chicken wings. And I think it was about 8 o'clock at night by that time, and my phone just started ringing. And it was, social media, it was news outlets, it was, the Niagara Falls History Museum, and it was just, and clearly there was a need for this in our
Yes.
community.
Yes.
When I set it up, I didn't think that this was something that was going to grow. I didn't think Justice for Black Lives would be an organization. It was just an outlet to get out some frustration. It was taking a bullhorn and saying, we're done, enough is enough, and we just continue to grow. We have an exhibit in the Niagara Falls History Museum right now that's going to run till January 10th. That's the permanent one. It's a photo exhibit of June 6th.
Okay.
So if you weren't there, we kind of transport you there through photos and videos. It's amazing.
Perfect.
And we share that with another exhibit that's set up called North to Freedom there. So it's kind of like then and where we're at now.
Okay.
So you walk through the North to Freedom and then you get to the Justice for Black Lives. We have a permanent exhibit going upstairs in the Niagara Falls History Museum
Okay.
next year. I'm working with Niagara College. I'm working with the Niagara Falls Library for all the high schools in Niagara Falls where they just want to step up their resources. They want to know what they should provide in their libraries, in their schools. We're petitioning the Niagara South Board of Education because we feel like the curriculum needs to be changed. We have to stop romanticizing the white man's history. We all know Christopher Columbus did not discover anything.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So it's time to stop teaching the nonsense. Let's teach the truth. Let's teach our children, our black children, that we were not just slaves. Because I know when I was in school here in Niagara Falls, that's all I was taught. Black people were slaves and white people enslaved. Well, we're going to teach you that, you were kings, you were queens. This is, we're going to teach you, black people contribute to inventions and things that you use every day you don't know that a black man or a black woman invented. So we're going to expand that. We're going to make it mandatory. Because I feel like if a child can go to school and learn another language,
Yep.
right? And I thought it was at grade 4, but everybody's telling me they introduce French to the kids in grade 1. So if you can introduce a whole other language, you can introduce human relations and race relations in the curriculum as far as I'm concerned. And it should be mandatory. I feel like when we get to high school, I just read a book called White Fragility,
Okay.
and it's phenomenal. I think every white person should get this book no matter, it's gonna be hard for you to get through, because it's a real reality check for them. But I think every white person should get that book and really try to understand it. Don't just read it.
Understand.
Try and understand it. It's gonna be hard because, you know, it's called white fragility. You know, as soon as you start pulling white people's card on their ignorance and their racism, they want to shut down and they want to get defensive. This book was written by a white woman, and she clearly states in the book she did not write the book for you. She did not write the book for, you know, me. She didn't write the book for nobody of color. She wrote the book for white people. And she's brutally honest, and she attacks systemic racism in every facet. In the justice system, educational system, social, every facet, and she breaks it down. So Justice for Black Lives, we have a book club. Now we work through the Niagara Falls History Museum.
Okay.
So we're going to do white fragility, but I want to wait till COVID's over because
Yes.
I want you to come in the room. And if there's something about that book you don't understand, you don't agree with, let's sit down and dissect it, because that's the only way we're going to move this needle. I get a lot of slack from black people. They don't. We shouldn't have to teach white people. And you're absolutely right. If I can teach my child that there's other races out in the world and there's other cultures, and white people feel to do, not all white people, but the majority, which is why we're dealing with this ignorance, because racism is a white man's dog, it's not our dog. You know what I'm saying? So we don't teach that to our kids. It's been allowed to stay alive because white people are nurturing it like a child. They're feeding it. It's allowed to grow. It's allowed to stay. It's been untouched. So we
Decades
have,
and decades.
Yes, and that's how it's been alive to this day. It's not us. So we have to teach through education. And if I find a white person who's willing to sit down and listen and be taught, then I'm going to teach. Do I think I should have to? No. But somebody's got to be the bigger
I
person.
hear you there. Yes.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yes. Someone has to be the person. I hope something was learned here, because I just learned a lot. I didn't know there was so much difference. I didn't know there was so much funding, and I didn't know there was so much misunderstanding.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I thank you for having that time to come out and really just educate me.
Thank you for
Educating
having
my
me.
viewers. You know what I mean? I really want to thank them for that. And thank the audience for coming as well.
Yes.
Thank
You
you
guys,
for being here.
you got a nice little setup here. I think I want to
totally
come back.
appreciate that. It's multiple of love, right? There's so much people that are really a part of the transformation. So it's very much why it's very likable, because it's not just one person. There's a lot of hands.
Yes.
A lot of hands working
Yes.
this, and there's a lot of love.
Yes.
I
And
really
hopefully
want-
we can work together in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Would you be inclined to another episode?
Yes, absolutely.
Yay.
Absolutely. We are constantly moving that needle. We have our own office now, gifted to us by the city of Niagara Falls.
Right?
Justice for Black Lives just got an anti-racism committee approved by City Hall, who's going to work through City Hall. So we have city backing. We have local officials backing. We're doing big stuff. We're making moves. We're making moves.
You are proud, right? Because you should be, because that's something that is
I am.
worthy of being proud of. Because
I
it took me a while to voice
Mhm.
half of what you said. It
Mhm.
took me a long time to even want to say that.
Mhm.
So I'm very glad that music
Mhm.
brought you to that level of understanding where you were just like, man, these musicians are saying exactly what they feel, and I need to do the same.
It's been in our music for decades, right?
Long time.
It's been in our music for
Long
decades.
time.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Amazing.
Sherri, Darlene.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Oh man, you're more than welcome. We could play that song again. No, like just after every episode we drop, right? There's some gem that's dropped on after. Now I'm wondering, are those gems gonna drop tonight? There's possibly a performance on tonight, but that's really up to those gem droppers. All right. Yo, thank you for tuning in to the Lonsley G Show. The audience, my guests, thank you humbly for coming through. But the best part is always at the end, when you get to see some rap. And I want to see some rap, some performance, some guitar happening, somebody bouncing around. Who's that going to be? Humbly your guest, your host, Lonsley G.
Okay.
Check it out.
What's up, man? That sound real low. Yeah. You like on the LG show? It was a real powerful meeting today. Bunch of beautiful, powerful women. Black women. Shout out Justice for Black Lives, Sherri, Darlene. Shout out Styles by Shinae. Guess we all know what we made of. Cause when them people enslaved us, we lost connections to our roots. The same things we afraid of. It's the same things that make us. Guess you don't wanna know the truth. All night I just blaze up, thinking why did God make us? Or rather, why did God make me? I learned it was to create these paths and ways to escape the dark places in your brain, B. So get high on the gas and hey, just make sure that you pass it. You know these tracks, I abuse it. Look at me, I ain't have 2 cents, but knew that I laid out a blueprint. Told y'all one day I'ma do this. Now look all the places that do been. Giving y'all beautiful music, it's spinning and branding the movement. Told y'all that we the new movement. For now I just pray for improvement. Roll up some more of that blueprint for body a drug and I use it. Told us there ain't no more room up in Paris, but watch how we moving.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Nice.
Blessing the stage once again.
A little powerful.
Holding it down.
Appreciate it. Throw me in there, Johnny.
LG show. Johnny Armani with the performance.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
EJ Block.
In the building. Zach Murray on the
So
camera.
humble today.
John Davies on the camera. Wonderful show today. And I think just like that, we gone.